I told my daughter something I should have kept to myself. 3 weeks later, I lost everything. Not my house, not my savings. Something worse, I lost control of my own life. And it started with one conversation I thought was safe because she's family. Here's what nobody tells you about getting older. The people closest to you can become the biggest threat to your independence. Not because they're evil, because they think they know what's best for you. And the moment you give them certain information, you hand them the power to make decisions about your life, whether you want them to or not. I'm going to tell you about 3 things you should never share with anyone after 60. Not your kids, not your siblings, not even your spouse in some cases. Because once these things are out there, you can't take them back. And the consequences can destroy everything you've worked your whole life to protect. If you're over 60 and you value your independence, you need to hear this. Because I learned it the hard way, and I'm trying to save you from making the same mistake I did. Let me start with the first thing you should never share. And this is the one that cost me everything. Your health fears. The things you're worried about but haven't confirmed yet. About 2 years ago, I started forgetting small things. Where I put my keys. What I walked into a room for. Names of people I'd known for years. Normal stuff. The kind of stuff that happens to everyone as they get older. But it scared me. So one night at dinner, I mentioned it to my daughter. I said, "You know, I've been forgetting things lately. I'm probably fine, but it's been on my mind." That's all I said, just a passing comment. I wasn't asking for help. I wasn't even that worried. I just said it out loud. My daughter's face changed. She got this look, concern mixed with something else. And she said, "Mom, how often is this happening? Have you seen a doctor?" I told her it was nothing, just normal aging. But she wouldn't let it go. She started asking questions, testing me, watching me. And suddenly, every little thing I did became evidence. I forgot where I parked at the grocery store. She made a note. I called her by her sister's name by accident. She wrote it down. I asked her to repeat something because I didn't hear her. She exchanged looks with her husband. Within 3 months, she was pushing me to see a neurologist. I didn't want to go. I felt fine, but she kept insisting. So I went just to calm her down. The doctor did some tests, basic cognitive stuff. I did okay. Not perfect, but okay for someone my age. The doctor said I showed some mild age-related decline, but nothing concerning. No dementia, no Alzheimer's, just normal aging. But my daughter didn't hear that. She heard mild decline, and that was enough. She started talking about me moving in with her for my safety. She started showing up unannounced to check on me. She called me every single day, sometimes multiple times. She talked to my other kids about me behind my back, started making plans for my future without asking me. And the worst part? She meant well. She loves me. She was genuinely worried, but her worry turned into control. And it all started because I shared a fear I should have kept to myself. Here's what I learned. When you're over 60, people are looking for reasons to take over. They're waiting for you to show signs that you can't handle things anymore. And the moment you express doubt about yourself, you give them permission to doubt you too. Should I have kept my memory concerns completely secret? Maybe not. But I should have gone to a doctor first, gotten answers. and only shared the results if there was actually something wrong. By sharing my fear before I had facts, I created a problem that didn't exist. Now, I'm not saying hide serious health issues. If you have a real diagnosis, your family needs to know. But your passing worries, your minor concerns, the things you're scared might be happening but probably aren't, keep those to yourself until you know for sure. Because once you plant that seed of doubt in someone's mind, you can't unplant it. They'll start seeing problems everywhere, and suddenly, you're not a capable adult anymore. You're someone who needs to be managed. If you want to maintain your independence, you need to control the narrative about your health. And that means being very careful about what fears you share and when you share them. Now let me tell you about the second thing you should never share. This one is even more dangerous because it seems harmless. Your financial situation, how much money you have and where it is. I have a friend. We'll call him Robert. He's 72, worked his whole life, saved well, owned his home outright, had about $400,000 in retirement accounts, comfortable, set for life. His son knew he had savings, but Robert made the mistake of telling him exactly how much and where it was. He showed him the statements, walked him through his accounts, thought he was being responsible, preparing his son for when he's gone. Big mistake. Within a year, the son started asking for money, small amounts at first, a few thousand here and there. Robert helped because he could afford it. But then the requests got bigger. The son's business was struggling. He needed $50,000 to stay afloat. Just a loan, he'd pay it back. Robert said no. That's when things got ugly. The son started pressuring him, guilting him. You're just going to sit on all that money while your own son loses everything? You can't take it with you. What are you saving it for? Robert held firm. So the son changed tactics. He started talking to his siblings, telling them Robert was being selfish, hoarding money while his family struggled, turning the other kids against him. Then the son did something Robert never saw coming. He went to a lawyer, started exploring whether he could get power of attorney, started building a case that Robert wasn't managing his finances properly. All because Robert had made one business decision the son didn't agree with. It got messy. Family relationships were destroyed. Robert had to hire his own lawyer, spent thousands defending himself, and all of it could have been avoided if he'd just kept his mouth shut about his finances. Here's the truth. Money makes people crazy, even good people, even family. When your kids know you're sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars, it changes how they see you. You're not just their parent anymore. You're a resource, an asset. And some of them start treating you like one. I'm not saying your family is going to steal from you. Most won't. But knowing creates pressure. They start thinking about their inheritance. They start making plans based on money that isn't theirs yet. They start feeling entitled to it. And here's the darker side. If your kids are struggling financially and they know you have money, they're going to resent you every single time you say no to them. Every purchase you make for yourself becomes wasteful in their eyes. Every decision you make about your own money becomes selfish. You want to take a cruise, they're thinking, that's $10,000 he could give me. You want to renovate your kitchen, they're thinking, why is he spending my inheritance on new cabinets? The solution is simple. Keep your finances private. Your kids don't need to know exact numbers. They don't need to see statements. They don't need to know where your accounts are or how much is in them. Give them enough information to handle your affairs if something happens to you. Your lawyer and financial advisor can have those details. But day to day, your money is your business. I know this sounds harsh. I know you want to be open with your family. But I've seen too many people lose their savings, their independence, and their family relationships because they were too transparent about money. After 60, your financial privacy is your protection. Guard it. Now let me tell you about the third thing you should never share. And this one is going to surprise you because it seems like the opposite of a problem, your loneliness, how isolated you feel. When you're alone a lot, when your spouse is gone or your friends are dying or your kids are busy, you feel lonely. That's normal. That's human, and your instinct is to tell people, to reach out, to admit you're struggling. But here's what happens when you do. People see you as vulnerable, and vulnerable people become targets. I know a woman. She's 78. Her husband died 5 years ago. She lives alone, and she's lonely. So she started telling people, her neighbors, people at church, her hairdresser, anyone who'd listen. She thought she was just being honest, opening up, connecting. But word got around, and suddenly she had a lot of new friends. People she barely knew started calling, inviting her places, being extra nice. One of them was a woman from church. They started having coffee together. This woman was so caring, so attentive, always checking on her, always there when she needed someone to talk to. After a few months, this woman mentioned she was having financial trouble, medical bills, couldn't afford her medications. And my friend, grateful for the companionship, offered to help. Just a few $100 to tide her over. The woman was so grateful, promised to pay it back, except she never did. Instead, she came back with another crisis, then another. And my friend kept giving because she was terrified of losing the only real friend she had. By the time she realized what was happening, she'd given this woman over $20,000. And when she finally said no, the woman disappeared, stopped calling, stopped coming around, because she'd never been a friend. She'd been a predator who saw a lonely old woman as an opportunity. This happens all the time. Romance scams, fake friends, people who prey on lonely seniors. They look for people who've admitted they're isolated, who've said out loud that they need connection, and they use that need against them. But it's not just strangers. Sometimes it's family. When you tell your kids you're lonely, some of them hear opportunity. Opportunity to move you into their house, to take control, to make decisions for you under the guise of keeping you safe and connected. I'm not saying you can't admit when you're struggling, but there's a difference between telling a therapist or a trusted old friend and broadcasting your loneliness to everyone who'll listen. Loneliness is real, but advertising it makes you a target. Find healthy ways to connect, join groups, volunteer, see a counselor, but be very careful about who you tell and how you frame it. Say you're looking to meet new people, not that you're desperately alone. Say you're interested in making friends, not that you haven't talked to anyone in days. Control the narrative so you're not painting yourself as vulnerable. Because people who prey on seniors, they're listening for specific things. And I'm lonely is like ringing a dinner bell. So let me bring this together. 3 things you should never share after 60, even with family. Your health fears before you have actual diagnoses. Keep your worries private until you have facts. Don't give people ammunition to doubt your capability, your exact financial situation, how much you have and where it is. Protect your money by protecting your privacy. Give people access only when absolutely necessary. Your loneliness, how isolated and desperate for connection you feel. Find connection through healthy channels, but don't broadcast vulnerability that makes you a target. I know this goes against everything we're taught about being open and honest. But here's the reality. After 60, the rules change. People start seeing you differently, and information you share can and will be used to control you. Not always, not by everyone, but often enough that you need to be careful. Your independence is precious. Your autonomy is everything. And sometimes protecting those things means keeping certain truths to yourself. I lost control of my life because I shared a passing concern about my memory. It took me 2 years to rebuild trust with my daughter and establish boundaries. 2 years of fighting for the right to make my own decisions. Don't make that mistake. Be strategic about what you share. Keep your power by keeping some things private. You're not lying. You're not being dishonest. You're protecting yourself in a world that's looking for reasons to decide you can't handle your own life anymore. Subscribe if you're protecting your independence at all costs.